this media network. This is English for grade 6. Hello students, how have you been? Last time we have learned about simple future. Do you remember simple future? Very good. And we have seen the different ways of expressing or talking about the future. Can you tell me some? Let me remind you. The first group that we have seen was will and shall, yeah? And on the other side, or the second group, was going to. And the third one was the present continuous, which is is, are, plus verb ing. Yes, last time we have seen the 3 patterns and how to use them in the future. I am sure you remember. The first group, which was will and shall, we use them to express what? A future fact, very good. Another? Simultaneous decision, very good. A decision that we make to do on the time of speaking, right? Good. How about going to? Be careful. Last time I told you seriously that when we say going to, it's not directly from subject to going to. No. We use what? When we say going to, we use a subject plus and the present auxiliaries like is, are, plus going to, plus verb 1. Yes, this was the second pattern, and this kind of feature was for a planned future. Good, excellent. And the third pattern, the third language pattern, the present continuous, we use it for arranged future. Do you remember when we say arranged future, it means what? Yes, when we talk about a future which is fixed by a time and place. Very good. Now today we are going to talk about comparatives. Today it's time for adjectives. I am sure you know adjectives, right? Good. Today we use adjectives to compare and, to show comparison between 2 things, which is comparative, and something with more than 2 things, which is superlative. After this lesson, you will compare different objects or different people using adjectives, yes? And also, you will know the comparatives or the adjectives that follow the rule, which is ER and EST, and the irregular adjectives, and also those adjectives that are more than 2 and more than 2 syllables. Okay? Follow me now. Our today's lesson will begin with a story. I will tell you a story and listen carefully and note down the adjectives that I mentioned in the story. Okay? Listen, it's a very short story. Listen carefully. The title of our story is Tim and his dog. Tim is a young boy and his dog's name is Max. Now listen to the story and try to identify the adjectives that I mentioned in the story. Okay? Very good. One sunny day, Tim and his dog Max ran up the tall hill behind their house. Tim was the faster runner, but Max was the happiest dog, wagging his tail all the way. When they reached the top, they saw Lily with the smallest kitten in her arms and a basket of the freshest apples. Tim tried an apple, and it was the tastiest one he had ever eaten. Max barked louder than usual because he wanted to play. Lily's kitten was softer than Max's fur, but Max gave the kitten the gentlest lick. They all sat under the biggest tree, laughing and having the best time together. Wow, that's an amazing day, yes? Tim and his dog Max, they had a wonderful time up on the hills. But have you identified the adjectives? Let us pick them now. Let us try to remember and pick the adjectives that you have written while you were listening, okay? Very good. All right, so from our story, we have heard a lot of comparisons, yes? We compared how Tim was running and how Max was running and the feeling of Max, right? And some differences about the kitten, Lily's kitten, and Max's fur or his hair, right? So, what were the adjectives? As I told you, our today's topic is what? Comparatives. Follow me now. Okay, comparatives. All right. When we compare, we use what? We use adjectives. Very good, because it's adjectives that can help us what? Describe a noun. Very good, a noun or individual names or names of animals, objects, whatever. So while we were comparing, we use what? These adjectives. So from the story of Tim and Max, what adjectives do you remember? Let us remember together. The first one was the positive adjective, right? It says what? A tall hill, right? Tall. Tall was one adjective that we heard from the story. What else? What else? How were they running? Do you remember how they were running? Who was the fastest runner? Yes? We heard what? Yes, Tim was faster. Very good. Faster. Yes, Tim was faster. How about the feeling of the dog? How was the dog feeling? Tim was running, or he was running faster than his dog Max, but Max has some special feeling. And what was that? The happiest dog. Very good. He was the happiest. Happiest. The happiest dog. Good. All right. What else? What other adjectives have you or do you remember from the story? How about the hair of Lily's kitten? How was that when you compare it with Max's fur? It was the softest. Very good. The softest. It was the softest. Nice. Wonderful. Oh, I forgot about the apples. How were the apples? Freshest apples. Very good. Freshest apples. Yes, freshest apples. And unlike the other days, yeah, Max, the dog, how was he barking? Do you say louder? Good. He was barking louder. Louder. Yes, this and a lot of adjectives we remember from the story. Yes? What difference have you seen on these adjectives? Look at the first one. It says tall. Yeah? And the second one, faster. Who do we say faster? Tim was faster than Max, the dog. Yes? Good. When it comes the happiest, who was the happiest? Yes, the happiest was what? Yeah, the happiest was Tim's dog, which is Max. When we say the happiest, that means the happiest from all of the dogs that were around. Yes? Or from all of the dogs maybe in the planet. Right? Good. When it comes to the hair, the kitten, Lily's kitten, her hair was what? The softest. Yeah? But when we compare it with Max, or with Max means what? Tim's dog, it was what? The softer. Softer. Yes. The hair of the kitten was softer than the hair of what? Max, the dog. Good. How about when we say freshest apple? Yes. We are comparing the apple that Lily brought to the event with the other apples that Tim has ever tested. Yes? Not only that, after he tasted the apple, what did he say? the tastiest. The tastiest apples, which means the sweetest apples, yeah? Good. These are all adjectives that we are going to study now, okay? I am sure you are familiar with adjectives and how we change the adjectives into comparative and superlative, all right? Let's go now. Let's see. Let's start with this one, tall. Tall is just a positive adjective. It is called what? A positive adjective. We are not comparing. When we simply say tall, we are telling what? Yes, the height of someone without comparing. For example, you can say, my father is tall, yeah? Or you can also say, my mom is short, yeah? Or, I am tall. That means this is what? A positive adjectives. Very good, very good. But when it comes to fast, fast is also another adjective. When you add ER, it becomes what? Faster. This time, you are comparing what? Two people. Yes, we are comparing two nouns. It can be two dogs or two cats or two individuals, how they run, right? You can say what? I run faster than my sister, right? Or you can say John runs faster than Paul. Yes? This time we are comparing what? Two things or two names, right? Let's go to the animals, for example. Max is what? Tim's dog. Max runs faster than Lily's kitten. You see? Faster. Instead of saying fast, we use what? Faster, which we call it comparative adjectives or comparative degree. All right? Okay. How about when we say happiest? When you say the happiest, how can you tell about that? For example, I am happy. That's positive. Yeah, I am happy. Or I can say, I am happier than Lily. This time I am comparing myself or how happy I am with Lily. Yes? How about when I compare myself with Tim, Max, Lily's kitten? Yes, and Lily herself. Now I am comparing with four individuals. Yes, with four. Look, this time what do I say? I am the happiest. See? I am the happiest. What do we call that? We call it superlative degree. The first one, when you compare two people, two objects, two animals, we use what? Comparative degree. We add ER or IER. When do we add ER? When do we add IER? I will tell you that, okay? Just now, I want you to understand the difference between comparative and superlative. So, when you are comparing two, okay, me and my friend, or you and your brother, or you and your sister, that is comparative. So, we use comparative degrees. Faster, taller, shorter, happier. Yeah? Good. When you compare me with two, for example, when you compare me with you and with your sister, I'm just one and compared with two, right? This time we use the superlative degree. Have you got me? Good. Now let us see how we can use it in a sentence. Comparative. Or let me tell you one thing before the comparatives. One-syllable words, okay? One-syllable words, which means words which we can't say them with a breath. They are called one-syllable words, like, for example, tall, yeah? Short, strong, happy, okay? These are some of the common adjectives that are called one-syllable words. For these words, okay, when you are using them in a positive sense, we simply make a sentence. For example, you say what? Ayele is tall. Ayele is what? Tall. Okay. Let's use one other sentence here. Strong, for example. Strong. I am. Yeah? I am strong. Okay? These are simply positive adjectives. We are not comparing, we're just telling. Okay? But using such adjectives, which are adjectives with one syllable, when you want to compare and use the comparative degree, we use ER, all right? ER or IER for the words that end with Y, like this one. For example, happy ends with Y. Yes? In that sense, for words like happy, which ends with Y, we use IER. We cancel the Y and use IER. But for the other one-syllable words, we simply add what? ER. For example, tall. How do we make it? Taller. Yes? And its superlative form, it is what? Tallest. Let's go. Short. Short. Yeah? How do we say? Comparative, shorter, and superlative, shortest. All right. How about strong? Stronger. Very good. Stronger. Stronger. And its superlative, strongest. Good. Strongest. Now here we come to happy. What did I tell you? Happy ends with Y. So what do? We just cancel Y and put I, right? Happy. Now, instead of Y, I put I. Then we goes with ER. Happier. Yeah? And the same thing with the superlative. Happy, happiest. You see? This is how we use the one-syllable words in their comparative and superlative forms. Now let's come up with some examples. In these two sentences, we simply use what? The positive adjectives, or simply a positive without any other degrees, yeah? Let's come up with comparative. I want you to compare yourself with your friend based on how tall you are. Let me give you a few minutes and write down your sentences. Okay? Okay. Do you say, I am taller, I am taller than, let's say, I am taller than my young brother. I am taller than my young brother, or you can mention the name of your young brother, yeah? Or you can say what? I am, to the opposite. I am shorter. I am shorter than my old brother. Yes? But sometimes it can be vice versa, yeah? All right. This is how we compare two things, which is called what? Comparative degree. And the other one is superlative. Let's use this word, happiest and strongest. Now look, actually it's better to use these words, right? In order to identify the difference. This time, you are comparing yourself and your younger brother. Yes? How many? 2. Let's say that you are comparing yourself with the whole class in your school. Assume that you are the tallest one. How do you say? Yes, I am the tallest. I am the tallest in our classroom. In our classroom. Wow, how amazing it is. Yeah? I am the tallest. On the first sentence, what do you say? I am taller. Because there are how many people? You and your brother. This time, you and the whole class. You see? 2 and more than 2. In that case, we use what? The superlative degree. I also want to remind you there are some words that we double the last consonant before we make it comparative and superlative. For example, let me show you this word, big. I am sure you have learned how to compare this comparative degree and superlative degree starting from grade 5 or grade 4. So how do you write big in its comparative form? Click down. Remember, how do you use to write? Yeah? Big. Yes, it is bigger, but how was the spelling? Good. B-I. Look, this is its positive form. Yeah? B-I-G. Yeah? Then we double the last consonant. Very good. When you find the CVC, be careful. Consonant, vowel, consonant. Vowel and consonant at the end. Then the last consonant become what? Doubled. Big and bigger. Yeah? Big and bigger. How about this one? Small. How do you make it comparative? Do I have to add L again? No, very good, because we already have what? 2 consonants here, so we simply make it what? Smaller. Very nice. And the superlative form, for bigger, it become what? Biggest. Yes? And for smaller, smallest. Good. Now we have seen how we use comparatives, how we compare things, especially 2 things and more than 2 things, right? Now, I want to tell you, on the first we said one-syllable words, or words that we say with a single breath. How about those words that come up with 2 and more syllables? For example, look. Look at this word, beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah? Beautiful. Creative. Creative. Yes? Expensive. These are words with more than 1 syllable. For example, when it comes to beautiful, it has got 3 syllables. So, how do you use to compare it? Or what is its comparative and superlative form? Would you try? You want a few minutes? Okay, take it. Yes, for beautiful, yeah. Because we cannot say beautifuler, we say what? More beautiful. Very good. More beautiful. More beautiful. How about the superlative? Yes? Most beautiful. Okay? Let's use, how about creative? Can you say creativer? No. We say what? More creative. More creative. And the superlative form? Most. Very good. Most creative. Good. The same is true with expensive, right? More expensive. More expensive and most expensive. Good. Now let us make some example. For example, let us use the word creative. In a positive form, you can say what? You can say John is a creative artist. Yeah? John is a creative artist. Now let us compare John with Peter. How do we say? John is more creative, yeah? Creative than Peter. Good. This time we use more. Okay. And let's make it John with Peter, Paul, yeah? And Samuel and the other boys. How do we say? Yes. Out of all the boys, John, yeah? John is the most creative artist. This time we meant to be what? He is the most creative than Peter, Samuel, and the other boys. Or simply with when you compare him with Peter and Samuel, since Peter and Samuel are two, we use what? The superlative. So these are how we use comparative and superlative degree. I have one thing left to tell you, and that is there are times that we use more than one adjective in a sentence. Okay? More than one adjective in a sentence, just in one same sentence. Sometimes we repeat the same adjective in a sentence. Like, for example, we say the balloon is getting, yeah, bigger. The balloon is getting bigger and bigger. Now, how many adjectives do I use? Yes, the same adjective, but 2 times in a single sentence. You see that? Why? Because I want to show what? The difference. Yes? Something is getting different. At first, it was bigger, and then when we add the air, it become what? More big. Yeah? In that matter, we say what? The balloon is getting bigger and bigger. Yes? Very good. Or let us use from this more than one syllable ones. You can say the price has become more expensive. Look, the price has become more expensive. Now, who are we comparing the price with? We are comparing it with itself. Yes? The price has become more expensive, maybe more expensive than yesterday. Yes? Or more expensive than the other days. So, sometimes when we want to change, or when we want to show a progress or a change, we use more than one adjectives in one sentence. Or sometimes we can also show how dependent things are. Like, for example, look, this one is a good example. The more you work hard, the more you work hard, yeah? The more you work hard means the more you exercise. What do I use here? more. The more you exercise or the more you work hard, the stronger you become. You see? The more you work hard, the stronger you become. Right? Yes. The more you study, what else? The more you study, the more you become successful. Yeah? Or the more you achieve success. Right? The more you study, the more you achieve success. Now, two things in the same sentence. One is dependent on the other, which means your success is dependent on the more effort that you make. Right? Very good. So, in these ways, we use what? We use the adjectives in our sentences. You can find them in different passages or in stories, like how we begin the story of Tom and his dog Max, yeah? And even in your daily life, you use such adjectives in a different way to compare, with something with another thing, or one thing with more than two things. All right? I am sure you have got it all. Okay. Now, if we are clear with all of this, let me give you a homework to practice. But remember, your homework, after you do it, show it to your teacher at school or your mentor at home or your parents, okay? Before the exercise, let me remind you that there are also some irregular adjectives. Have you heard me? I said what? Irregular adjectives. Yes? Yeah, not those adjectives with one syllable or the adjectives with two and more syllables. I said what? Irregular adjectives, which means irregular adjectives means adjectives that do not follow the rule that we have seen when we make an adjective, comparative, and superlative. Yes? You remember, what do we say? For example, for the regular one, we say what? Big. Then it becomes bigger. Yes? Or biggest in the superlative form. Okay. And also when it comes with those more than two syllables, two and more syllables, for example, we said what? Beautiful. Yeah? Beautiful. Beautiful. More beautiful. And superlative, most beautiful. Good. Most beautiful. Nice. How about good? How about this word good? Do we say gooder or more good? No. Good is one of the irregular adjectives, so it becomes what? Instead of gooder or more good, which is totally wrong, we say what? Better. Very good. Better. Yes, better. And its superlative form, best. Nice. Best. Now what do we say? Good, better, best. Right? How about bad? Bad. Yes? Worse. Very good. Worse. Worse. Yes? And its superlative form, worst. Worst. Yes? Nice. And let me add one more. Far. Yes? Far. Yeah, far, it has two forms. One is farther, which is F-A, yeah? Or farther and farthest. Or farthest. Okay? What do we call such kind of adjectives which do not follow the rule? They are irregular adjectives. Totally, as you can see here, they change what? Their form or their first structure. Yes? Very good. Now, this is all about the adjectives that we see for today. Now let me give you a homework to practice. Okay? Good. use the correct form of the adjectives in parentheses. Okay. The first one. Brighter, bright, bright, the sun, bright, the sun, yes? And simply, sorry. Bright, the sun, hot, it gets. Now we are going to see what? One thing is dependent on the other, okay? We will see the progress of something within an adjective. Okay, next. Let's say Martha is beautiful than her sisters. The third, my school blank far than the new clinic. I think these are enough to practice, yes? Just to remember what we have seen for today, I want you to do these 3 sentences in a correct form and show your answers, your parents, your teachers, or your mentors. All right? So that's all what we have for today, which is comparative or comparative adjectives. And we have seen the adjectives in 3 forms, on their positive form, comparative degree, and superlative degree. And for those with 1-syllable adjectives, we add what? ER in the case of comparative degree, and AST when we make them or when we use them for a superlative degree, right? And the other are those that are 2 and more syllabled adjectives. We use more for comparative and most for superlative. And in sentences, we also see how to use more than 1 adjective just to see the progress or a change of something, right? And another one is 1 effect depending on the other cause, expressing by using the definite article the and an adjective, just like the first in your homework. Have you got clear with my explanations today? Thank you very much. That's all what we have. I will see you next time. Have a good one.
In this video, you'll learn how to swim, even if you have no experience or you've never been in the water before. I'll guide you step by step from total beginner to someone who feels